Welcome, Praise Team, to this installment of 1/6 TV. In these short 5 to 7 minute videos that we put out quarterly, what I like to do is each one of those quarters talk about one of the 4 pillars of worship at Northside. And if you're kind of new to this, I'll just fill you in here what those pillars are. The first one is a celebration, or a spirit of celebration. The second one is an atmosphere of prayer. The third one is a sense of mission or calling. And the fourth one is moments of life transformation. Every Sunday we try to hit on all 4 pillars of worship here at Northside. We don't always get it right, but at least that is our goal. In this session, I really want to highlight the role of mission or calling, sense of mission or calling. I really like this new book that's come to me. It's not new, but it's new to me, by Sandra Van Opstal. I've always struggled to say that name. And she wrote this book called The Mission of Worship. And I highly recommend that you check out this short little book because there's a lot in there that I think will bless you. She talks about how worship ministers are kind of like good hosts. She lives in Chicago, and so she talks about when people come to Chicago to visit, whether they're just from out of state or from out of country, and typically people like to go eat one thing when they go to Chicago. What do they want to eat? That's right, pizza. They want Chicago pizza, and that's what they want. But Sandra is a native of Chicago, and she knows what they need. What they need is a sandwich called a jibarito. Now, I may not even be saying that right. It's a Puerto Rican sandwich that's made with plantains and steak, and she says it is the best thing that is in Chicago. So people come and they want pizza. What they need, though they don't know it, is a jibarito. And you see, I think that's kind of what worship ministers are. That's what worship teams are. They're good hosts. When people come to worship on a Sunday morning, they have a pretty good idea of what they want, of what they expect, of what will bless them. But as a worship ministry team, what we do is we get to say, okay, we want to serve you, we want to shepherd you, we want to bless you with where you are. So yes, we will, to the best of our ability, give you what you want. However, for us to really live on mission, we are also going to give you what you did not know that you even needed. That's what good hosts do. And that's why it's so important for us as a worship ministry team to have a laser focus on the way that worship and the true mission of God are connected. Because as our eyes are opened to fully see God for who He truly is, then we can't help but reach out in mission. We can't help but be changed and then help others to change as well. So let's face it, not everyone likes the songs that we sing. Not everyone likes the style of music that we use. Not everyone likes the volume at which we play those songs. Not everyone likes to stand and worship. Not everybody likes to sit and sing. And our aim has never been to please people, you understand? It's never been to please people, but it is to love them and to serve them. We aim to give them what they want, but we also aim to give them what they didn't know that they needed, to grow their experience of worship, to grow their expressions of worship. So what does this look like? Well, in Sandra's book, she would say it this way. She would say, worship can be a tool for welcome. Worship can be a tool for welcome. We've got to make sure that we serve in such a way to make as many people as possible feel welcome. I want you to imagine for a second that you were a part of the early church, or you were there on the day of Pentecost in Acts chapter 2 there in Jerusalem, and you got to hear Peter's sermon. Now, I want you to imagine that you were visiting Jerusalem. You're not native to Jerusalem. You're not from there. Maybe you're from Asia. And so you travel in. You're a brand spanking new Jew. And so you come to Jerusalem, on Pentecost to celebrate like good Jews would do. And but you really don't speak Hebrew hardly at all. You barely speak Aramaic. And so as everybody in town is speaking these languages, you really aren't understanding. And then here comes this fisherman, and he begins to speak, and all of a sudden you recognize that language, right? Well, that's going to grab your attention. Immediately you're going to hear something you recognize, and your attention will go there. That is a way that in the early church God was allowing everybody to feel welcome and to feel a part of this. And so let me just apply that to what we do on a Sunday morning. How can we make other people feel welcome? How can we speak their language? That's what I'm getting at here. How can we speak their language? I'll admit that I don't always do this well. In fact, only recently have I just been truly educated and convicted on how important this truly is in worship. Our worship gatherings may not be all that ethnically diverse, but certainly there is generational diversity, there's social diversity, there's economic diversity. And if we're going to love God with all of our heart, soul, mind, and strength, and we're going to love our neighbor as ourselves, then we need to facilitate a setting where as many people as possible can hear in their own language, so to speak, and we can appeal to them. A few weeks ago, Wayne Bushnell said this in a sermon. He said, people who are not yet here are on our minds because they're on God's. People that aren't here yet are on our minds. Why? Because they're already on God's. I want you to think about who is not at our church. Who's not here? And how can we, as a ministry that is up front often, how can we speak their language? How can we make them feel like when they arrive, they are welcome here? I've heard this said before, and I believe it's true, that the church is the only organization in the world that exists for its non-members. So look out on a Sunday morning and look for who is not there. And then let's start thinking about how we can reach out to this community and to this world through the lens of worship, through the ministry of worship. I realize that just in a few minutes here, we're not going to solve everything, and there's a lot to unpack. It really demands further dialogue. So hopefully these are just some seeds to plant in your heart and mind, something to think about, something to pray about. But there are some questions below, and so I would love for you to interact with those questions. I'm going to look forward to reading your responses so that we can take some more steps on reaching more and more people through the lens of worship, through the ministry of worship. Thanks for watching 1-6 TV, and by the way, I highly recommend that you get that book, The Mission of Worship. It's a really small book, but it's making a big impact in my life. I hope it makes an impact in your life. Take care.